Level 1, the gym rat. You are 11 years old, and the gym smells like bleach fighting a losing battle against sweat. It's above a laundromat on a street with a bus stop and a check cashing place, up a staircase with a busted light on the third step. Your sister Deb drops you off on her way to her shift at the hospital because your mother works nights and someone has to keep you off the corner after school. The ring ropes are frayed. The heavy bag has duct tape holding its seams together in three different colors from three different repairs. A man named Renner runs the place. He's built like a fire hydrant, and he doesn't smile much. He wraps your hands the first day without asking if you want him to, looping the cloth between your fingers, tight, methodical, like he's done it 10,000 times because he has. He tells you to hit the bag, not hard, just consistent. You hit it for 20 minutes, and your arms feel like they belong to someone else afterward. You come back the next day anyway. You don't know why. Something about the rhythm of it, the way the world gets quiet when you're moving. Renner starts you on footwork before he ever lets you spar. Weeks of shuffling in a chalk box drawn on the floor. No bag, no gloves, just your feet learning a language. You think that's stupid until the day he finally puts you in with another kid, and you get hit in the face for the first time in your life. Your eyes water without your permission. You don't cry, though you want to. You go back the next week. Deb notices the bruise on your cheekbone and doesn't say anything about making you quit. She just asks if it's worth it. Standing in the kitchen with her scrubs still on, tired in a way that makes the question feel serious. You say yes before you've even thought about the answer. That's the first sign this might be real. Renner starts keeping a small notebook with your name on the spine. Tracking rounds, tracking weight, tracking nothing you understand yet. Level 2, the amateur. You are 15 and you have 9 fights, 6 wins, 3 losses. Renner has stopped treating you like a kid who wandered in off the street. He treats you like a project. You run before school now, 4 miles in the dark, your breath clouding in front of you, street lights clicking off one by one as the sky lightens. You learn to read distance, to feel a punch coming a half second before it lands, to turn your chin so the shot skids instead of connects. You fight in a regional tournament in a convention center, 2 states over, sleeping 4 to a motel room with other kids from the gym, eating gas station food because nobody budgeted for real meals. You lose a decision you thought you won, and you don't sleep that night, replaying every round on the water-stained ceiling. Renner sits on the edge of your bed at midnight and tells you the judges don't reward what you feel, only what they see. You start fighting for the judges instead of for yourself. It works, eventually. You win the regional the following year, cutting your opponent's lead in the third round with a body shot Renner drilled into you 200 times on the bag. Deb frames the trophy even though it's plastic and already yellowing at the base. Your mother comes to one fight, the only one she can get off for, and she covers her eyes for most of it. Afterwards, she hugs you and says she can't watch anymore, but she'll be there. That becomes the arrangement for the rest of your amateur career. She comes. She doesn't watch. She's there. Level 3, the prospect. You are 19 and you've turned pro. Your amateur record was 47-6. A promoter named Castillo saw you fight in the finals of a national tournament and offered you a contract before you'd even showered, his card damp in your gloved hand. The signing bonus is $8,000, most of which goes to Renner's cut and the rest to rent. Your first pro fight is on a Tuesday night undercard in a casino ballroom with maybe 300 people watching, half of them there for the buffet you can smell from the locker room. You make $800 for 4 rounds. You win by knockout in the second. It feels less like triumph and more like relief, and you're surprised how quickly the adrenaline drains out of you afterward, leaving something closer to exhaustion than joy. You fight 6 more times that year, all wins, all 4-rounders against opponents who are there to lose, men with records like 4-19 whose job is simply to still be standing at the final bell of someone else's story. Castillo calls them building blocks. You start to understand that your record is a narrative being written for other people, not a reflection of who's actually tougher. You move out of your mother's apartment into a studio near the gym, a single room with a mattress on the floor and a mini fridge that hums too loud at night. You still run at dawn. Renner still corners every fight personally, even the small ones nobody's watching, refusing offers from other prospects because, he says, he started this one. He tells you the small ones are where you learn what the big ones will cost. You don't understand what he means yet. You will. Level 4, the journeyman. You are 22 and the fights have gotten longer, the purses have gotten bigger, and so has the pain. 8 rounds now instead of 4. Real opponents, guys with something to lose too. You take a fight on short notice against a southpaw ranked above you because the original opponent pulled out and the purse is $11,000, more than you've ever made in a single night. You train for it in 9 days instead of the usual 8 weeks, sparring rounds bolted onto rounds until your legs feel like sand. You lose a split decision after 8 brutal rounds and spend the next week unable to chew solid food, living on smoothies. Deb blends for you in her kitchen because your jaw won't cooperate with anything harder. Castillo tells you losses like that build your name if you handle them right. You don't feel handled. You feel used, and for the first time you notice how casually he says the word we about decisions that only ever seem to cost you something. You start asking questions you never asked before. Where does the money actually go? Who negotiates the purses? Why does your cut always feel smaller than the number printed in the headline? You hire a lawyer, a friend of Deb's from the hospital named Osei, to read your next contract line by line, and he finds a management fee buried in clause language that's been quietly taking 4% more than you agreed to. You confront Castillo about it in his office, and he calls it a clerical oversight and fixes it without apologizing. You start treating this like a business instead of a fight. Renner doesn't love the change. He says you're getting distracted, that a fighter who thinks about money in camp is a fighter who gets hurt. You tell him someone has to look out for it since nobody else has been. It's the first real disagreement you've ever had with him, and it doesn't fully close. It just goes quiet, the way things do between people who need each other more than they need to be right. Level 5. The Contender. You are 25 and ranked 9th in your division. You fight in real arenas now, 10,000 seats instead of casino ballrooms. Your name on a marquee outside instead of a printed card in the lobby. Your purse for a nationally televised fight is $60,000, the biggest number you've ever seen next to your name. You win a war against a former champion in a fight that goes to the final bell. Both of you swollen beyond recognition by the end, trading rounds like men settling an old argument neither can quite remember starting. Cameras follow you backstage now. A reporter asks how it feels to be a top 10 contender, and you don't have a rehearsed answer yet, so you just tell the truth. It feels like the beginning of the part that actually hurts. A nutritionist named Priya is brought in that camp to fix your weight cuts after a fight, where you nearly passed out making the limit, your kidneys screaming, your vision tunneling in the sauna. She tells you flatly, in a way nobody in this sport has ever told you anything, that you've been starving yourself for a decade and calling it discipline. You start eating like an athlete instead of like someone trying to disappear into a weight class, and you make weight the next fight with 2 pounds to spare instead of 0. You and Priya start seeing each other that winter, slowly, over meals she plans, and you actually finish. She's the first person in your life who asks about the sport without asking about the money first, and the first who asks about you without asking about the sport at all. Level 6. The Title Holder. You are 28 and you win a world title on a Saturday night in front of 14,000 people, most of them screaming your name by the 12th round. You remember almost none of the fight itself, only fragments. The ref's hand pulling you back, the belt going around your waist, heavier than you expected. Deb somewhere in the crowd with both hands over her mouth. The purse is $400,000, more money than your family has made collectively in your lifetime. You pay off your mother's mortgage the following week without telling anyone until it's already done, and she calls you crying at 6 in the morning, unable to finish a sentence. Being champion changes the shape of your days. You don't train, you defend. Every camp is 12 weeks of your life dedicated to protecting something instead of chasing it, and that's a different kind of pressure, quieter and more exhausting than the hunger that got you here. You make your first defense against a mandatory challenger nobody's excited about, a solid but unspectacular fighter the sanctioning body forced onto the card, and you win comfortably. And the arena is only 2/3 full, and you learn that a belt guarantees respect but not attention. Attention has to be earned separately, fight by fight, story by story. Castillo starts talking to you differently now, less like a promoter managing an asset, and more like a partner negotiating with one. Level 7. The Draw. You are 30, and your name sells tickets on its own now. Your third defense is a pay-per-view main event against a rival who's been talking about you in interviews for 2 years. A rivalry manufactured slowly and then real. The undercard alone pays more than your entire purse from 3 years ago. You do a press tour across 4 cities, cameras in your face at every stop, a documentary crew following your training camp for a streaming series, microphones catching conversations you didn't realize were being recorded. Priya, now your wife, watches the promotional machine consume months of your life and asks quietly one night, after a shoot runs 4 hours past schedule, if you remember why you started. You don't have a clean answer, and the silence after the question sits in the room longer than either of you wants. The fight itself, when it finally happens, is over in 9 rounds, and you win, dropping him twice before the stoppage, and the number wired to your account afterward has 7 figures in it for the first time. You buy your mother a house with a yard, the first yard she's had since you were born. You buy Deb a car she didn't ask for and almost refuses, standing in the driveway with her arms crossed until you physically put the keys in her hand. Fame brings people back into your life who disappeared years ago. Cousins, old classmates, a father who left when you were 6 and now wants tickets to ringside, texting you like no time has passed. You learn to say no more than you say yes, and you learn that saying no to family costs something different than saying no to a promoter. Renner watches all of it from the corner during camps, saying less than he used to, and you notice, without naming it yet, that he's slower getting up the gym stairs than he was 5 years ago. Level 8, the veteran. You are 35, and your body has started sending you invoices for everything you asked it to do in your 20s. Your hands ache before every camp now, not after. A ring doctor flags a cut over your eye that's scarred too many times to heal cleanly again, warning you in the locker room, clinical and direct, that one more bad cut there could end things for good. You lose the title in a fight you should have won on paper, outworked by a 26-year-old whose legs never slow down the way yours have. A kid who reminds you uncomfortably of yourself a decade ago, right down to the way he doesn't celebrate until the scorecards are read. You sit in the dressing room afterward, ice on both eyes, and Renner, older now too, silver through his beard, doesn't say anything for a long time. Then he says the thing you've been avoiding, that the legs go before the hands do, and yours went 2 fights ago. You take one more fight anyway, a voluntary rematch clause, telling yourself it's about business and knowing it isn't. You lose that one too, clearly this time. No arguments to make, no close rounds to relitigate on the ride home. Priya is pregnant with your daughter Nora during that camp, and you watch the ultrasound video the morning after the loss, propped up in a hotel bed with your face still swollen, and something in you settles that had been loud for 24 years. You don't announce your retirement, you just stop scheduling the next camp, and after enough weeks pass without one, everyone understands. Level 9, the Elder. You are 42, and you haven't fought in 6 years. You own a piece of the gym above what used to be the laundromat, now a smoothie place, because the neighborhood changed while you were busy becoming someone else. The stairs still have a busted light on the 3rd step. Nobody's ever fixed it. Renner is gone 2 years now, and his photo hangs by the ring you both bled in as teenager and grown man. A small brass plate under it, with dates you still can't read without stopping for a second. You train prospects yourself now. Teenagers who show up because someone's cousin knows someone. Kids who remind you of a boy getting his hands wrapped for the first time without being asked if he wanted it. You wrap their hands the same way Renner wrapped yours. Tight, methodical, not explaining why yet. You wrap Nora's hands sometimes on Saturdays, not because you want her fighting, but because she asked, standing in the doorway of the gym office in her school shoes, arms crossed exactly like Deb used to stand. You understand better than anyone alive why a kid might want to know what it feels like when the world goes quiet. She hits the bag for 20 minutes and complains her arms feel like someone else's. You tell her that's normal. You don't tell her it never fully stops feeling that way, even at 42, even years removed from the last bell. She comes back the next Saturday anyway, and the one after that, and you watch her from the office window some afternoons, this strange, quiet, unearned reward sitting at the end of everything you paid for. Deb still calls every Sunday. Your mother still lives in the house with the yard. Priya still asks how you're doing without asking about the sport first. You don't have a notebook with Nora's name on the spine yet. You're thinking about starting one,